For the Griggs County Commission meeting on September 16th, 2024. Can everybody please stand for the pledge and the pledge of allegiance, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, folks. First order is to roll call. Avriel?
Here.
You want to explain the century code quick why Maddie's here?
Well, actually, we can have Jamie do it.
Yeah.
We've got Maddie here. Maddie Eli working is the fill-in commissioner per century code. The treasurer fills in until the position's appointed. Is that correct, Jamie?
Yes.
Okay. Maddie?
Here.
Here. Zorn?
Here.
Steph?
Here.
Just one of those days. And Tramby's here. So, thank you, folks. We have to look at the agenda, and once we look it over, I need a motion to approve it, please.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Ron. First by Steph. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, motion carried. I feel pretty good. The only thing on the agenda is County Road 8. So, who wants to start first?
I feel that we should have Christy and Lennis here explain the origin of the letter, where it came from, so we can have the starting point as to where this letter came from and
Do you have a copy of that letter, Christy, you're supposed to bring? Can we see that, please? Hi, Amber.
Hi.
So who wants to go first?
I guess I probably
You want to go for
wanted
Lennis?
start
Yeah, why don't you go,
because
Lennis?
This is where it all started.
Okay, go ahead, Lennis.
So Wayne was in one day paying a bill that he had some work done on a vehicle. And just in discussion, I asked him, how's this progressing, this county line problem? You know, I guess I've never followed up to see, but it just seemed like, you know, it's just kind of keeps rolling down the road. And I don't know the ins and outs on the grants and that type of thing. And Wayne said, well, the way I understood when me and Wayne talked was that these grants are prioritized sometimes or to what's needed. And I said, well, is there anything that we can do as a school, me with the transportation, emergency equipment? He said, well, letters, what's the word I want to use?
Support.
Letter of support would help. So I said, okay, I'm willing to get to work on that. So I contacted Christy that same day and I said, hey, would you be willing to write a letter of support to try to help get this grant movement done on this road? Because it just seems like, well, at one time I heard funding was in place and then things fell apart, but it just seems like nothing's been really going. So she said she sure would. So she forwarded it to me. I made a copy. To my knowledge, the only ones that ever saw that letter were Christy, myself, and my wife Elaine. Well, then I had a conversation with John and said, I wonder if we did this letter of support to try to help that road, and John did not think that was a good idea. Well, I guess I didn't forward it to you guys because I didn't know where I should go with this. Well, then he wanted a copy of it. So I actually took a picture with my phone, gave it to him. He called this meeting, the meeting you had last week, feels that now the county is going to be under pressure that something can happen out there. Well, that was not the intent of the letter. And I tried to make that to him I mean, we had dialogue that wasn't even totally friendly about it. You know, I couldn't get him to understand that, and he had his reasoning, which is fine. So after the road gets closed, now we're moved from having a county road 8 miles north, 8 miles south. Or we have a township road that's a minimum maintenance road to use, which was our only option because we have to get these kids to school well, the minimum maintenance road that they put us on, or we chose, I guess, they didn't put us on it, is a narrow road. I talked to the bus drivers. I immediately told the drivers, when you come over, there's a really nasty correction line on a hill. You have to be down to 10 miles an hour, staying on the shoulder, because it's really used by a lot of farmers because there's typically no traffic on it. And I drove it that first day it was closed. After practice from Glenfield, I came back. And I met 3 vehicles on that road that had to get half down the ditch so I could go by them. It's narrow. Then that's fine at this time of year. Once we start getting into winter months, I told John, you're gonna have a maintainer sitting there probably every day because this road fills in. It's a bad road. And
That's why it's called minimum maintenance.
And the correction line on top of the hill is a real tricky one. And if everybody's careful, it's doable, but you get somebody coming over that thing 50 miles an hour. We had a kid lose his life there some years back. And it's just, what we have is not, it's worse than what we were in, put it that way. And I didn't feel we weren't in a situation where we felt like this was gonna be bad, but those 2 gravel cuts are you need to be slow. And most of the time, everybody is. You know, people stagger. I've seen it. I mean, we do it with the bus. If we see if somebody's going to come across the gravel, the bus will stop till they get across. You know, it's not always that way, but it is for the most part. But I think we're being put in a situation now where we're almost in more danger now than we were before Friday. And or Thursday, whenever that meeting was. But I initiated this whole thing, and I'll take full responsibility for it. But it was not my intent. I know he brought up that letter was written on the 22nd of August, and that was alarming to him. Well, I never had planned, actually, I still hadn't decided was this the right thing to do after talking to people. In hindsight, I should have never forwarded that to him. That's where I hold myself. I allowed things to get to this position, so. And I'm sorry for that.
So the intent of the letter, to my understanding, is it was drafted for a support letter for future grants for a loan to fix that.
That's exactly what it was
permanently
run
fix
for.
that road.
Yes.
Awareness, not to shut it down type of deal, correct?
No, absolutely not. I mean, I just felt if that would help, after talking with Wayne, if that would help the progress of getting a grant, why wouldn't we want to try to do something to help it? Why let it just get slid back? This might help the federal government see that it's something that needs to be done.
Right. So the letter was to be going to Wayne for when he applies for a grant to be supporting documentation.
Right.
Not to the commissioners to say we need to do something this very second, close the road, because has the road changed in the past 4 years? I mean, is it any different from in the past since you wrote that letter?
No.
Since prior to writing the letter, has the road changed? Okay.
No. Somebody said, well, maybe it was the letter, the wording in the letter that. Well, you know, I said that's possible, but I guess I never stopped to think that maybe we needed to hire an attorney to draw up people can spin words into whatever they want.
Right.
And it's, I don't know what else to say. I mean, it was not, never have I ever once thought that I'm waiting to cause a problem for the county. It was just to support the process.
Okay. Christy, did you have anything you wanted to add?
I guess just to reiterate, yes, I was just trying to write a convincing letter to, I've written grants before, and to have that support for the federal funding. Apparently I was quite convincing in the letter. That's all it was just to be a supporting document going forward. I offered to change anything that needed to be changed to help, if I didn't say something that would help the federal funding, I could, make any edits to it. So it was not meant to, like you said, come to this meeting as a standalone anything.
Yep, and I did ask for, was it Wayne? Used to be I did ask for a letter of support. I talked to Lennis that day, and he said, yep, be no problem. You try to get letter of support from the fire department, ambulance, the school, the bus drivers, so we could add this because we had already submitted the grant one time, but it got turned down. And we submitted another grant, and that got accepted.
Yes.
It did have a letter of support from the fertilizer plant manager or whatever by Hannaford, and there were some other factors. In order to get accepted, there's different questions that have to be answered. There's like 15 points for different processes that you've gone through to try to get it. And this is one of them, is letter of support. I figured, well, if we could get 15 points for this letter of support, or letters, maybe that would help get it over the hurdle, so that we could get that road fixed. Way back in 2020, we had some estimates done, and the temporary one was not included on the grant request, but the permanent one was. First 2 sites with gravel, like 8 inches of gravel, 5 inches of asphalt, and riprap, protected, widened out, sloped and everything. So, and there's times the road gets bad. You get rain or something and it runs down the pavement, gets to the gravel, it gets soft, and it gets some chuckles stuff. A lot of traffic on it. So we put gravel on. We put some gravel on it this summer again, trying to get a crown in it so the water would run off instead of stay in the middle, because that's where everybody drives. And so it isn't any more hazardous now than it was 4 years ago, as far as I'm concerned. But the one area, the west section, that's got kind of steep, it's very steep shoulders, slopes. And I was thinking maybe we could widen that out and make it safer if somebody did get over to this edge or something. But the rest of it isn't too bad. Not going to get paved this year. And I think there's going to be refunding of that grant coming up this fall, and maybe we can have a letter from the commissioners and more letters saying that we need this, Griggs County needs this funding in order to make this road safer for traveling public and for the businesses, and to get for people to buy products across the line back and forth. I mean, it's a very important road. So maybe more letters of support from different people. I had an example of one from the elevator that, said it was, and at that elevator grant, we raised the load limit up to $1,500 or $150,500. So that was another point to get that funding. So
What Wade's talking about is the road through Hannaford to the elevator, so everybody knows that. That's what it's for. So.
And Amberly, you went and reassessed it after we closed it, right?
I did drive it.
What are your
I
thoughts?
thought it was basically the same as it has been.
to me, it wasn't any more dangerous than, we know the road needs work,
Yeah.
but it didn't seem. Lennis, thank you for coming in, and Christy, actually. So you're saying the option now is more dangerous than,
Well, I feel, have you driven that
no?
road?
Sounds
And
like
I'm guessing
everyone.
nobody in here has, probably, but like I said, after that road got closed, I was doing practice kids to Glenfield, and I told the drivers, you have to take that minimum maintenance road now. So they took it, and when I was coming from practice, I thought, well, I'm gonna drive it just to get a feel for it. Well, I've always known there's a correction line, it's, I don't know, right on the county line, is it roughly, where that, you come up over a hill and it's kind of a little twist in it. And that's always been kind of it's been known to be a hazardous place. But being the road is so, it's very seldom used. I mean, I've talked to people that said you basically only see farmers with equipment on it anymore. Well, after I drove it, and like I said, I met, before I got to that correction on the Foster side, I met a pickup. He actually got down into the grass and we met, and I went over the hill real slow and I came down, and then I met two school teachers who were the same way. They just stopped and I went by, and it's fine to do that if everybody is aware, but what scares me is now, in fact, one of my drivers said they met a high school boy just before they got up over the hill, and he was moving. And it was before, I don't know if the bus came over and then the car was coming, or if he was coming up and the car came over, but he said that you know, it's gonna be a dangerous spot because kids they're just driving. You know?
Right.
Were you driving a regular car then? Or
I was driving a school bus.
Well, you were driving a school bus?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I know you don't know what's over there. So I came up over that hill about 15 miles an hour, hugging the shoulder, just so I could respond if somebody was coming at a fast rate. And nobody was, but you have to go at that hill with that thinking, because
So
especially when you've got kids on a bus. You know, I would anyway, but I mean, you know, when you're hauling kids.
So that option is more dangerous.
I feel it's much more dangerous.
I think Rod did some legwork this last week. The whole weekend Rod spent doing legwork.
Let me back up a little. Dave Yerke's here from Foster County. Can you explain your side of the story with the line there for us, please, quickly?
Yes, I can.
Yeah.
I've got some maps that would do that. Would I be able to?
Yep.
It might be easier if I go
Yeah,
over
go
here.
ahead.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dave.
Yeah. Commissioner Edlin asked if I would attend, basically just to show what Foster County does with their side of this same road. Basically, we call it, it's 1602, but we call it the McHenry Road on that part of it. It extends west through Foster County. It's all paved all the way across to the town of Barlow, which is west of Highway 281. So I've only got 3 of these. I can do
That's
that
fine,
one.
we can share.
I think that's just to show our various county roads that are paved. And then I have another map, and this one is what shows what roads we have, what we've done with our county roads as far as projects, maintenance, and so on over the years. And I guess I think it's the best way for me to explain what Foster County has committed to this road. And if you start at the east end, where it says McHenry Road, that's the same road that continues west. There's a 4-mile stretch of gravel west of the Gray City Highway. West of there, we call it the Barlow Road. There's a Barlow East and Barlow West. And you can start at the east end, and you can see what, in the red, it illustrates what has been done over these last years. For instance, paving in 17 and chip seal on that furthest east part towards McHenry.
Okay.
And we continued on in pavement and further west in 2023, the rest of that length to the Gray City Highway, and chip seal this year. Then we hit that where it says Gray City gravel, and I think our commission thinks that previous commissions were considering this to be a major highway that crosses the entire county. It connects a lot of communities, ag facilities and so on, but they were never able to fund turning that 4 miles to a paved highway. This year we were awarded flex funding for that project, and it goes from this year through 27. We think it'll be 27 before that 4 miles is completed, and that has to be regraded and paved. And
Wonderful.
that's 80% ground.
80-20, yeah.
So we, our taxpayers will have to support that 20% local share. And we think through funding that we will receive, like Prairie Dog, if that comes through, our annual DOT funding and so on, we're trying to save up so we can cover that by 27. So then it goes on to other paved highways that go to the west. So that road provides the main artery between the Mid-Dakota schools in Binford and in Glenfield. It connects all these communities. It connects with 2 other paved county highways in Foster County, the Gray City Road and the Binford Road. Borgelac Road.
Yeah.
Excuse me. It intersects North Dakota Highway 20 and North Dakota Highway 52. It's been a major commitment for our board to try to maintain that road and improve it. We know it's a struggle. Every county struggles with how they're going to maintain their paved highways. We have a road plan. This is part of a plan that we had our road engineer put together for us, because we're trying to prioritize what we can do with our county roads. This is part of that. We updated it in March or April of this year. We had one year before. Before that, we thought it was a 5-year plan. But with inflation and deterioration of certain roads, we felt we need more current updates. We rely on that. When we know we cannot do everything we want to do with our county roads, and I don't think any other county can either. We've made priorities that we've decided we want to do a certain year, then we cannot do it. We'll probably delay it a year. But we haven't had to do that with this highway. At the same time, we requested that, or we made that application for the flex funding. We also requested for the same process for the Club Hall Road, the one at the south end, toward the southeast part of Foster County. That one was denied. We didn't get any funding out of that one. That one happens to be a road that would need a lot of reconstruction. It's the least, has the lowest traffic counts. It's in the most deteriorated state. It lasted probably longer than the design life was anticipated for it. And so when that was turned down, our county made a decision to grind up that 8 miles of gravel, or to gravel, and that will be done in October from what our plan is there. But that would have been our priority anyway. It had less traffic. It would be very difficult for our county to try to do anything to minimize what we call McHenry Barlow Road, because of its connectivity to everything that it connects to. And I felt that the flex funding program prioritized connectivity. Our road engineer told us that. So we thought it was a good candidate for that funding. And we're very happy with the amount we were appropriated from that, because there was 10 times the request that they had money for, and we were selected. And so I think they prioritized that road. That's my opinion. They don't tell us why they accept or deny an application, but
Hopefully we can have the same luck if we put it for flex funding on that road.
That's what I applied for, was flex transportation fund
Good.
for that road, but it was denied this time.
so I guess I hope that's explains what we're doing on the Foster County side. I can't offer any recommendation what you should do in Griggs County, but I hope that explains that part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Because the
does.
roads do connect
They
all the
connect.
way through. So
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
affects
Both
you
sides.
also with us closing this side. So,
Mhm.
but
So,
yes.
do you have any?
I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything else?
I have a question.
Sure, go ahead.
So if the water comes over the top of that road, are you gonna just abandon it?
On the Foster County side? That, I would not dare speak for our entire commission.
Pretty political there, right?
I don't think that would be right. We were close to that. The same year that you put the gravel there, we were looking at that very closely. We did shore it up with some rocks on the side in some areas. You know, it had rocks before, but we saw a couple points that we thought that was necessary to do. We did that. Thankfully, for us, the water did not overtop the road, or if it did, it was just on the edges. It went down, we lucked out. So we didn't get hit with the same issue that you did, but we were very close to that. I'm not sure what we would have done. I'm sure we would have gone through the same processes with our road engineer to try to get information. We'd have probably done the same things that you tried to do. It's, you know, even with grants, to be able to pay for the local share is a challenge.
Yeah.
We all know that. So I guess we would just look for any options available to us and just try to figure out if we could cover it. Other than that, I don't have any road expertise. I'm not a road engineer. I'm just trying to explain what we've done with our side of the road, and I hope that helps.
It does.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, David.
Okay.
Rod, you have some ideas.
I do. I think we can, and then we're gonna need Jamie for some of his opinions, or not opinions, but I guess his legal side of it. I think we can all agree that we need to get the road reopened for the safety of the kids, the school buses and stuff. I went up there after our Friday meeting and drove up there. Is it bad? You know, yeah, with me, I'm not gonna say it. It's not warranted being closed. I go to Canada every week, and we go in and out of the mine. There's 13 miles of a busted up highway that's gravel. With loader trucks, we blow the gravel out about every 7 days, and it becomes chuck holes, and they bring it back in and reblade it, but we know it's heavily traveled. And there's probably 100 trucks a day that go in and out of that mine. Probably 100 civilians that go in and out of that mine every day. What they do for us up there is they reduce speed. With trucks, buses, speed is your biggest enemy. It'll push a hole out in no time. So with that being said, my thought is to Jamie, legally, what do we need to do to reopen this road? My suggestion is that we go up there Wayne was saying that there's a spot that the road maybe need to be widened a little bit. Do we bring up some more gravel, put a new crown on it, put it on a maintenance so that we keep it crowned, that we keep, we have to bring the blades in every 7 to 10 days or whatever and run a blade on it. Right now, the sign up there it's 35 miles an hour. It's in the yellow and the black. That is not an actual speed limit.
Right.
I think as a commission, if we can vote on it, that we reduce the speed limit in that zone to 35 miles an hour. And I would say that we're not just at the site, we'd come back maybe a mile before the site to try and get people slow it down, because when they come off that pavement, if they hit that gravel, that's where we're gonna have the most, I would suggest that we put on flashing signs on both ends that say our speed, what fast we're going, slow down. You know, I think that we could get this road reopened. I think we can put it on a maintenance program of now, to try and keep it safe. And then from that point on, we just have to work with these, try and find money to get it fixed. But in between now and then, we just need to make it safe for the citizens and the kids. So Jamie, my question to you, 2 questions. Now that we have closed the road, what do we have to do to reopen it? Can we have Wayne go up and do some maintenance and you know, fix a couple things? Second of all, where do we stand as the commission to change the speed limit on that road?
Well, first, I don't know. I guess for answer the first question, I don't know. I'm not a road expert, and that's why I guess at the meeting on Thursday, that's what I thought what we were going to do is try to find someone to assess the road. Yeah, I think opening a road ultimately should be the goal of the commission. I don't think that was a long-term goal of the commission to keep the road closed, but you can't unring the bell of the letter that we have that it's a treacherous road. I did some research over the weekend as far as case law, and like I said, the case that I worked on back in 2009 down in Jamestown, that was actually overturned by the Supreme Court, pretty much says if you get notice, in that case, notice they probably would have gotten by just signing that washout. That was on an unimproved section line, but if you're on notice that the road is unsafe, you have to do something about it, or you could be held out and be liable for it. So I don't know. I guess I'm not an engineer, so that determination isn't for me to make whether it's Wayne's determination or whether he wants to bring someone in from KLJ to look at it or someone else. That's definitely not my determination to make. But as far as changing speed limits, yeah, that's completely within the purview of the commission. You have the authority to change the speed limit.
Do you think that by us taking action and going up there and doing several things of taking and adding a road and widening out the spot and changing the speed limit, that would be enough, or do you think that we need to have an actual engineer look at it? You know,
well, I mean, any kind of effort's gonna help. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the court's gonna say other than by someone saying that the road is treacherous and the commission getting notice of that puts us on notice that we have to do something. Like I said, Rod, I'm not a traffic engineer. I'm not a road engineer. I'm not an engineer. Period. So I don't know what it's gonna take to fix that road so it's safe. That's not a question for me to answer.
Right.
Well, and now that we know that the intent of the letter wasn't to get the road closed or to even make it to the commissioners, because it was to have gone to Wayne for part of a grant application.
Regardless if it was the intent to make it to you guys or not, you were on notice, Stephanie. You're on notice that the road is treacherous according to the school. So it doesn't make a bit of difference what the intent of the letter was. You've got that notice, and you have to take into consideration that notice.
Right.
And now we got notice that the alternative is more dangerous too.
Yeah, and now we got notice that the alternative is more dangerous.
Well, that's up to the administration of the school. There's 2 highways that go, actually 3 highways, I guess, that go between the 3 towns. So that's the school administration's choice to take whatever route they take. They can take 20 to 200 to 1 to Binford to McHenry. So that's the school administration's choice what roads they take. That's not the county's choice.
Right. Well, I personally feel that, I think we should sign it to be 35 miles per hour. I think that should be done. for sure. And if Wayne, whatever Rod said, his road words, I wrote that down.
We keep track of that road.
Okay.
At least once a week, the blade will go check how it is in the morning, see how it is.
Okay.
If it's rough, you'll go back and blade it. When it's dry and there's chuck holes, it's hard to get it perfect.
Mhm.
Right.
But he tries to go back, and we always try to keep ahead of it. We did add gravel this summer to crown it up. Maybe not enough, because we hauled gravel all the way from Hanford to try to get some better quality gravel there. I know the yellow signs are just precautionary or, you know, it's not, I don't think you can find somebody, maybe you can, but flashing signs, whoops, I caught myself, I was going 27 miles an hour coming into town, but I mean, somebody's gotta be there to enforce speed, because people, I was going 35 miles an hour and somebody shot by me on the gravel there going 50. I'm gonna pick up.
But those flashing signs are effective. Because when I would come into Cooper, before that was out there, I'm sure I was doing 30, 35 as I was rolling into town. And now when I see that thing flashing at me, I make sure that I'm below that 25 when I go past it.
I've seen that with stop signs too, where you completely not, you know, the stop sign's been there many, many years. People blow them all the time.
Yep.
They put a flashing one in there, and they have a lot less issues with people
Amber?
blowing through there.
Wait, same thing, thinking about with the flashings, how much more effective it is?
I don't know the stats on it, but I would
Yeah.
assume they're
Yeah.
a little more effective.
I guess I'm thinking about stuff, you know, of us changing the speed limit and the signs and stuff, you know, just trying to put some things in place, you know, for showing what we as a commission have tried to do to ensure the safety of people on the road.
Could you sign it also where the pavement ends and the gravel starts and some sort of...
The sign says intermittent gravel the next 1 mile. That means you could come on gravel
Could not.
200 feet down the road, could be more, it could be the whole mile.
Can we get a sign that literally says right before it turns, pavement ends at that part?
Gravel.
Well, could we just make that whole mile section then 35 miles an hour?
I would say that from where
It
the
is 35 between beginning by Blacks all the way to the curve. It's 30. In fact, maybe around the curves even 35.
Okay.
And I think there might have been a 35 white one up on the other curve.
See, I didn't see the white one, but I didn't pay attention when I came back, but I just seen the yellow.
Also that speed reserves your maintenance a lot better too.
Mm-hmm.
If it's down there, otherwise it's
Blows everything out
gravel.
Yeah, because I'd like to get that road open
as soon as possible.
ASAP. Is
You know, to
the,
widen it out and
goal.
stuff isn't gonna get done
right,
in one day.
right,
No, it'll take
and
a while.
Would it be
Right.
nice to get the engineer up there, give his idea of what we could do to fix it or to get it so we can open it again?
do you feel we need to keep it closed until we get that done? Because it really hasn't changed in the past 4 years. There isn't any change
See,
yet.
These-
Warranted.
the only thing I'm worried
I-
about that is if we open it and somebody goes across that road, gets killed, we're liable.
I don't
That's
know
what
how
I'm
many
worried
other times
about.
That can be said, guys, that we have to keep the road closed because we're on notice that the school thinks it's treacherous. Until it gets fixed, we can't open the road. I guess if you don't want to take the legal advice from the state's attorney, first of all, you should probably go to law school. Second of all, you're going to be found personally liable if you don't take the state's attorney's advice. And I don't know if someone gets hurt, I sure as hell wouldn't want to be on the hook for that.
How soon could you get work going on this, Wayne?
What do you need?
How
You
much
need an
money do you
engineer to
spend?
come out and.
That's my question.
study
Yeah,
do we need-
Yeah.
that's what I think we should do is get an engineer out there. He can at least give us an idea of what we gotta do to safen up the road, do what we gotta do, and then get it back open.
I talked to the engineer as soon as I heard this.
Yeah.
In Devil's Lake. He said, well, it hasn't changed in the last 4 years, basically.
Yeah.
It was built that way in 2020.
So getting a letter from him of,
Yeah.
Maybe a letter of support just saying, hey, the road is fine.
we feel the road is fine and it's,
Still, you got your state's attorney saying that it's,
But I mean, a letter from sport and an engineer saying, hey, this is okay for you to travel. You know, that'd be another backup saying, hey, we opened it. We had a letter of support from an engineer saying we were okay to use this road.
Yep. Yep. That's how we need support letter from the engineer stating that it is a drivable road.
That way it's, you know, not only that he's an engineer on this stuff, and two, it's a third party source saying, hey, you guys are good to go. And he might spot something, say, hey, we just need to fix this little spot, then you're good to go too. You never know. I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just saying that, you know, this is something, we got another letter of support saying you guys are good.
yep, whatever.
Well, I don't think
it
it's
is.
a letter of support. I think that would clear the county. If we had an engineer say it was fine, I think that's where this whole thing is started, was that we need to have someone take a look at it. And if they're okay with it, then they're okay with it. But if they're not, then they're not. Then we have to do something about it. But if they're okay with it, that's why we look for the assessment.
And that, I guess, was my beginning question, Jamie, is that, you know, what was the legal standpoint, you know, as far as what we could do, you know, to open it. I didn't think it would take much, but the legal side of it, that was where I was going to you with it, is, you know, to where, you know, your opinion or your advice or your to what we could do so that we were protected as a commission and a county and whatever.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, where we started at the last meeting, it needs to be assessed by someone. If someone
Okay.
says that there's nothing else that you can do to make it safe, then I would say that's fine reopening it.
Okay. Well, at that point, I think we should make a motion to get an engineer to look at it and give us a letter.
Okay.
Is that your motion?
That's your
That's my
motion?
motion.
Okay. You hear
I'll
that?
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. So.
We'll have a meeting right away when you get that assessment done.
It's getting calm right now.
You calm right now, yes.
I think we should have another meeting after that, and
I agree.
just the quicker we can get this move forward,
Going forward in that one.
reopen, that would be great.
Okay. Okay.
And then,
Yes.
and then the other part, the speed limit deal. So should we change that, do that, make sure it's, or what do you guys want to do?
Well, yeah, we probably will have to do that, but it'd be part of the system where the engineer decides. Yeah, I agree on that. You know,
But I mean, should we do that now and then the engineer
Well-
could look at it since we stepped on the speed? It might be even safer yet.
I
Oh.
don't know.
Wayne, thoughts?
Fine, but a lot of times you can't just get a sign. You can't just go to the store and buy a sign.
Well, yeah, no, it's
You've gotta make
understandable,
it-
but I
you've
mean,
gotta
I'm
make
just
them
saying
up, so
that,
it's
you know,
gonna take a little
we're
while.
just trying to help get the ball rolling with it.
Okay, Wayne, how much is those flashing light signs with solar? How much?
The ones that, like here.
Yeah.
It's a few $1,000s, I think.
Can you do some checking on it first, please?
So who owns this one up here? Is it the
Guessing the state does.
Yeah.
city or the DOT or?
Probably state. It's on 45, you know.
Well, that's the thing. I mean,
Speed
is
limit
that's a
in
state
town.
road, ain't it?
Yeah, it is. Yes,
But
45
the thing
is.
of it is, yeah, it's a state road, so even if it's going through town, the state still has to cover it, correct?
Correct.
Because I know that
How
was
they
the
do
big thing about
maintenance, yeah.
Hannaford too, that
Yeah.
about us fixing it or whatever else, being that it was a county thing, we couldn't touch it because it was a state road technically that
Yeah.
went through there on 200. It meant a state road,
Mm.
so it was really really fishy on getting some of that stuff fixed.
Anyway, but yeah, why don't you, can you do that for Wayne? Just check on that, how much those cost and stuff,
Sure.
please?
Even the sign too,
Yeah.
probably a couple of them, you know, one on each side.
Yeah.
Not just,
Just the ones.
Have you
And
gotta put a 35 miles per hour ahead?
yeah,
Something,
Mhm.
yeah.
you know?
Mhm.
Yeah, you maybe have to make a motion for you, here, you guys decide that at the.
I don't know, do you want to do it right now, make it 35, or you want to make it when, after the engineer?
I honestly think we should do it now.
Okay, is that your motion?
That's my motion.
okay. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Rod will second it. All in favor? say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay. Anything else, guys? Any other thoughts?
I'm just sorry I had to put you guys through.
Oh, that's okay.
No, that's fine. Thank you for coming.
It's a letter of awareness,
Yeah,
and that's
we
the main
just-
thing, you know.
It kind of put this in the forefront again, which it needed to be.
Which is a bigger push to get this road fixed, so.
Mm-hmm.
Is there, so, another question on that then, can you get some kind of letter of support about next time he's turning in for a grant or whatever, we could turn this letter of support in and go through the steps that he likes to speed up this process?
Right, yeah,
And help us
absolutely.
get the,
Yes.
the funding for it?
We'll have to make sure in the letter it does say this is a letter for support of this grant, so that
Yeah.
it can't be turned like
Yeah.
this one
Yes,
was.
yes.
You know,
Yeah, I mean, maybe we'll have to get it done by a legal, by
Yeah,
law firm. I don't know. I had no idea that this little letter would, that,
And it should be addressed to the
you know,
North Dakota Flexible Transportation.
well,
yeah.
when you're ready for it, let me know and
Okay.
we will go about it.
when do you plan on applying for that
Well, the
flexible?
sooner the better. If there's money about the quality, we need to get it in there ahead of time.
Doesn't that kind of go by,
Biennium? No.
no, but, because they kind of look at the spots, don't they? They don't, and so you use to make it or don't.
It's by, is it more by,
Go by the point system, the more,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, if the
points
school,
you get.
if the school uses it and everything else, that should be quite an
That-
influence
I think
on
that
it.
was written
In there.
in the letter that was sent, or the grant that was sent in, was used for transportation between two major highways and school and ambulance and EMS and all this stuff use it. But just think, you know, maybe the letter would have more weight in there to move it along.
Yeah.
You know, because there was an estimate of $2 million to do that, so.
Can't just draw that treasury?
Yeah, wasn't
Yeah.
the last estimate 2.2?
Yeah.
Yeah, or something like
and
that.
that was what, in 2020, right?
Yeah,
So
well, this, yeah, it was the same, I think he sent in the same as he did in 2020, there was, at the time, there was a emergency grade raise, that was $1 million, but it didn't cost that much. And the permanent one was 2 million, whatever, I've got paper here, but 225 or whatever,
Yeah.
million, or 2,225,000. But that's just, in order to make sure you have enough money when you receive the grants, you wanna have it a little bit higher than what you're thinking it might cost. Because you don't want it to get it approved and the year you still owe another million or 500,000 that you gotta
Mhm.
come up
Yeah.
with your own local funds. So
Yeah, 820.
that's the thinking on it.
Then if it's used as much as he says it's used up there, an accident and somebody getting killed, that would really be the situation. I mean, it's just, it don't take much.
And they can be killed anywhere.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah.
with the maintenance, you know, and the road itself.
Well, and like you said, if it, like, so stepped it down to 35 like we did, I think that'll make it easier on the road. Lot less people tearing it up, flying through there, stuff like that. I think that'll help it out too. So. Give
So
Wayne
I
a
just
little,
sent a text.
give
To
Wayne a
Paul.
little bit of a break on that.
Yeah. So, any other thoughts?
That engineer, he's the one that's looked at it like 4 years ago.
He's looked at it since that time too, when we were preparing the grant, you know.
Okay.
If not, I entertain a motion to adjourn. I can't do it anymore because I can't do
I'll
that.
make that one.
Okay, Josh second adjourn.
I'll second it.
Rod will second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Adjourned. We adjourned at, Sam, at 9:48. And the next meeting's at September 23rd at 9:30 a.m.